You don't want to. No, but so let's get into this question that we were this conversation we were having before we started recording, ma'am. So what were you saying about these Nollywood movies? Because not
Nollywood, but Bollywood.
Well, Bollywood is the Indian one.
Yeah, and I can't get into that because they be having a real serious moment 1 minute and then it's a musical the next. Like, why are you dancing and singing at the funeral? Like you're doing a whole synchronized
like fucking
dance.
Sarafina. Freedom will come tomorrow.
But look, that was perfectly timed though.
For your freedom.
Their songs was on point though. Their songs came when it was needed though. You know what I mean? Like the school got burned down. Now we're gonna sing like freedom's coming. You know what I mean? That was on point. But in the Bollywood movies, like I don't understand. I was watching and getting my hair braided because she loved them movies.
She do.
So we sitting in
No,
there.
she be watching the Chinese movies and stuff, and I was like, sis, you understand anything that's going on? I'm not gonna sit here and read all these subtitles, and then she be behind me like, oh my goodness.
But she says she don't understand nothing they saying, but it's just good.
You can't.
But I mean, they really do. They break out into song and dance. It'd be a whole synchronized dance and song in like the middle of a serious moment. Like
Nollywood. So Bollywood is a whole thing, but Nollywood, the movies from like Nigeria. The ones
I was talking about earlier, and I was like, the ladies walk up to the door and be like, "Are you sleeping with my husband?" And I was like, "Well, shit, she ain't talking to me. No, bitch, I don't even know your husband."
And then she be like, "What are you talking about? He is my friend. He is my friend."
And be like, "He doesn't even love you anymore. He's going to divorce you. We're going to get married."
Yes, and then it gets
Y'all
real
ain't getting
serious.
married when I burn this house down, bitch.
Then it gets real serious because she just got accused of sleeping with that woman's husband, and she be like, "What do you mean? I've been your best friend your whole life. You are not a good woman to him." Like, I mean, like you just how you gonna defend yourself, but then call her out at the same time? Like, no, you don't sound guilty at all.
So would you say that Nollywood movies are a step above Tubi movies, or are they necking?
Yes.
I've never watched a Tubi movie. So
we just watched it. So we just watched a clip, a very riveting clip of a movie from Tubi, or a reenactment of a movie from Tubi. Remember the scene from Love and Hip Hop where Ray J was talking with the Safari?
And his head kept changing direction. That's exactly what a
directions.
Tubi movie is. That's exactly what a Tubi movie is.
Are they that bad?
They are my guilty pleasure. I was like, I'm not watching this. I'm not going to watch this. Services. And they always got the craziest names like, it'll be, what was the one I watched one day? And I was sitting there like, Shauna, turn this shit off. It's awful. It was like something called, He Played Me or some shit like that. And then I'm thinking that it was just that one movie.
Yeah.
I go back on Tubi because it be having some TV shows on there too, like actual shit we see on regular TV.
Yeah.
And I turned it back on to finish watching the show, and I see He Played Me too. Y'all made a part 2 to this fucking movie? I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on because I just want to see what happened after she got shot. That's what happened. So y'all done shot this nigga 16 times and he ain't dead yet. Who the fuck is he, 50 Cent? I'm confused. Like, what's going on here?
No.
How he out the hospital already? Y'all shot this nigga 15 times.
You know what would be the real shit if Quan Millz started making movies?
Please no. Please no. Please no.
Listen. I'm not even going to be mad at that because if he does it, then I actually might watch it.
I'm going to watch it just to see the fuckery. That's why I watch reality TV.
Oh, Lord, so she got roaches. Like, that was the title of one book, right?
No, the one I'm pregnant by my grandfather's boyfriend or some shit. It was something crazy. I am going
to look up. We are going to do, we should have like a legit book club for Quan Millz.
I've never read a book, though. I need to read one. I've never read a Quan Millz book. The titles alone
just be like, what the fuck is going on?
It's just a little too ghetto for me. You know what I mean?
It's giving very much ghetto.
I'm on Amazon.
I'm going to do it just for y'all.
I'm going to read. If you aren't, hold on. Before we do this, welcome to this week's episode of Wine and Audacity, the podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Cigar, and I'm joined by two of my favorite people in the world. How y'all feeling this week?
I got wine.
I was about to say I'm good because I got juice, but Shauna just topped me with the wine now.
No, but this juice, so if y'all...
and some tasty juice, though.
I don't know where y'all live, but here, over the past maybe decade or so, we have this chain from upstate New York called Wegmans. And they have some of the best food. we ain't talking about food, we talking about juice. I went to Wegmans yesterday to get my groceries, like I do every week or every so often, and I bought this tart cherry and apple juice.
It's amazing.
And me and Key have polished off this whole bottle. I got like a swallow left, and I'm gonna say that for my breakfast tomorrow. But yeah, this tart cherry juice is amazing.
It would make good mimosas. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Mimosas are orange juice and champagne.
They have different flavor mimosas. You remember we went to brunch that day? We had orange juice mimosas, cranberry.
But it's so cranberry and champagne is called a poinsettia.
Oh, that ain't what they call it. I didn't give a damn what it was. I drank it.
Mimosas are
delicious.
champagne and citrus of some sort.
I was skipping down the street when I left brunch. That's all I'm
walking
saying.
on sunshine.
I was. Brandon was like, "You good?" I said, "Yep."
Okay.
Not the Whitney shoulder shrug going on.
with the short wig and the sweat.
Yeah.
Going down
The little
the
piece
side.
of sweat right here. Bobby Brown, King R&B.
King R&B. Okay, so back to what we were saying. I had to introduce because we're already 5 minutes in just talking about random shit. So we are going. So if you aren't familiar, back to what I was saying with Quan Millz, he is a Black author in the urban lit genre of book writing, I guess.
That's the politically correct way to say it. Yes.
Nigga books.
There we go.
So I'm on Amazon.
Hood literature.
There we go. That's
There you
better.
go.
So I
Hood
was
lit.
so hood books. We know hood books like Dutch by Terry Woods and The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Souljah.
Two of my favorite books.
What was some other books y'all remember reading from the genre?
Oh man, I
True
got
to
a
the
whole
Game.
list.
True to the Game.
I read. I think I read like 2 or 3.
Let That Be the Reason.
I don't.
Oh,
remember.
yeah, I forgot about Let That Be the Reason. Anything by Ashley and Jaquavius.
I don't know.
Oh God, what's the title of that book?
That's a husband and wife duo.
And they do separate books from each other too, but they do a lot of their books together.
Okay.
They make some really good books. They had one that was about a female hit squad.
Oh wow.
Oh, God,
Okay, well,
I read so many. We'd be here forever.
The cartel books about them. It's like cartels, like 1 through 5 or something like that. That was good. I'm trying to think of the one because I think it was a spinoff of Cartel, but it was just her book. And she had a whole series.
My urban lit phase was like 2006 to 2008 when I literally read like Dutch, the sequel, True to the Game. I read all those books like literally in the span of like 2 or 3 days each.
They should have left True to the Game as a book because the movie upset my murder mommies. That's what it was.
Okay.
And it's 2 books that if you are
Murderville.
from Baltimore or Maryland that you should pick up, and that is Be More Careful
Yes.
I think I remember reading it.
and Dumb Is Me. Dumb Is Me is by an author that is from here, and that book was so good. We rotated that book.
Oh, you
like
did?
my sister read
We
it,
took
and she
turns
gave it to my
reading it.
mom, and then I read it, and I gave it to Shauna. Like it was so good. It was like
I might
You
go
just
back and
did not
reread
see-
that when I get some free time between classes.
you just did not see that twist at the end coming.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
So Quan Millz is, I guess, those books started coming out like it was maybe 15, 20 years ago at this point. Like
That's the kind of shit
the
we
coldest
read.
coldest winter ever came out like 2000, like in the 90s, didn't it?
I believe so because my
Yeah,
mom
'cause
had it, and that's how
Because
I
Fly
read it.
Girl came out around the same time. They supposed to be making that into a movie too.
Fly Girl was it?
Fly Girl was Omar Tyree.
Oh, my Tyree. Yeah. So Quan Millz is more of a recent addition to the urban lit genre of books. And he has spirited titles. Are y'all ready for these? Such as
Lord, let me refill my wine glass because Okay, go ahead.
okay. So Quan Millz titles The Old Thought Next Door.
What?
The Old Thought Next Door. You see that?
Babe, who Nana is that? Lord.
See, it's not even just the titles. It's like he really be doing covers to
book
match
covers,
these titles
these
that's
book
so
covers.
outlandish.
Not Miss Geraldine on the cover.
In her negligee. Not a negligee.
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 Esther.
Pastors eat pussy too.
Oh, I remember that one.
Oh, that was after that. Did he make that after that Pastor
yes. That's who Quan Millz
No
is
way.
famous
Y'all
for.
worried about
Whenever
me
there's a
out here eating
controversy.
coochie cat. Y'all should be out here getting
Nigga,
y'all
not coochie
coochie cats ate.
That's one thing about Quan Millz that I can say that Quan Millz is a marketing genius.
Oh, he is, absolutely.
Because if there's a situation or any kind of controversy that comes out and it's like everybody's talking about it, within a week, Quan Millz has that book.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He has that book queued up.
It's
That's why I'm like, see?
Shauna, it's like Fat Kid Deals, but instead of for Twitter, it's for like literature.
Yes.
No,
And what
Fat
is it
Kid-
called?
What? The Pastors Eat Pussy too?
No, you said something about Fat Kid Deals.
It's like Fat Kid Deals. You know, whenever something happens on the timeline on Twitter, Fat Kid Deals finds that way to tie it into like a sale or something. Anyway, the next title is My Psycho Baby Daddy. My Baby Mama is a Loser. CNA Thoughts.
CNA Thoughts.
The all-time classic, This Hoe Got Roaches in Her Crib.
Didn't I say something like that?
You did.
It was like, oh Lord, she had roaches. I was wrong about that, but close enough.
Thug Karma. The Coldest Thug Ever, A Thug's Rise. Has 740, 4.5 stars and 740 reviews. Project Hoe Dreams. Tax Season Thoughts. That must be a series. My Baby Mama is a Loser 2 bonus box set collection. When a bad bitch, not bitch, but bish.
BISH.
Yeah, and a savage link up, an urban romance standoff. Okay. Gutter Chicks Do Gutter Things.
About Stevie and Jocelyn.
Gutter Chicks Do Gutter Things, a full standalone novel. Project Hoe Dreams, episode 2.
Project Hoe Dreams.
Project Hoe Dreams, episode 3, the finale.
Lord.
My Psycho Baby Daddy 2, the finale. Yeah, this...
It goes on and on.
It goes
my
on.
Lord.
I remember, was it this hoe put raisins in her potato salad? That was one.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
This hoe got roaches in her crib. He writes Hoe is Life. This nigga be writing books, if we can call them that. But how do we get? When we talking about Nollywood movie,
we were just talking about the absurdity.
it's absurd.
I cannot.
But he be selling books. I mean, it clearly it's a market for it, right?
It's definitely a market for
Somebody
it.
is reading that shit.
So,
I follow this author on Facebook who his books. I always say I'm not going to read. Like he posts like chapters on Facebook, and I remember screenshot one and sending it to Key, and I could not stop laughing because it's just I don't even know the word to describe it. I just be like, how do you come up with this shit? His stories are the craziest things. It's always something crazy, like the woman sleeping with a best friend's son, who she watched grow up, or the girl sleeping with her husband and plotting on how to kill her mother, to get rid of the mother so she could be with the husband. And now the latest one, I think, the dude is sleeping with his sister's boyfriend, but then the sister is getting raped by their father. But then the father is also cheating on the mother with the mother's best friend's daughter.
And then Medea comes in and sings the Christian song.
That's all you waiting for.
Yeah,
it's crazy as hell.
And that's the reason.
And I keep reading the shit because I'm just sitting there like it can't get no. And then I read the next chapter and be like, God damn it.
Yeah,
it's crazy as hell.
That's why I started reading urban lit or hood lit rather, because
hood lit.
To me it's like it always went the same way. It was always this girl who was either meant to be a good girl or she was the daughter of a kingpin, and she ended up with a new, her generation's hustler, or some kind of hustler, whatever. It's an abortion involved eventually. Always,
and then he get
abortion.
the next bitch pregnant, and she found out that the next bitch is pregnant by him, and the next bitch is bragging about it. Like, then he made you get rid of your baby, but I'm about to have his first son, bitch.
Yeah, and then he goes to prison, and she got to hold things down. And all of a sudden, she the big boss, and then he come out and he want to be a pastor at the end. Like, it's always the same.
But she done got used to that funny money.
Yep. So now she moving on to the next.
She got to plot on how to take him out because he trying to fuck up her money. Like, it's crazy as hell.
So, fun question before we move into our topic: if you were a book writer and you wrote in the urban lit genre, what would the title of one of your books be?
Don't write me off, baby, because it's coming.
Okay, but what would the title of your urban lit book be? Something absurd and outlandish.
Oh, I gotta do something absurd and outlandish.
To keep with the theme. Yeah, we've been talking about books like that.
I gotta think about that because I'm not an outlandish person.
I'm sitting here trying to think because that's not the kind of shit Key writes. So now that I read her stuff, I look at her stuff.
So we are mentioning that now.
I've been mentioned it
a couple times.
Oh, okay. I that's why I kind of like.
I just didn't say what the name was, what I write, or even go into real details about that, which I'm not going to do.
Okay, that's fine. Because that's why I kind of like pose the question around it. But what's your book title? What's your absurd book title?
I think it's something real ignorant. Like,
it's gotta be something, something real ignorant.
Y'all want to hear mine?
The crackhead hoe's daughter or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's gotta be something stupid like that.
It would make sense coming from me. Y'all ready for mine? Pimp and Plant Danny Chronicles.
Wait. Pimpin' Plant Daddy Chronicles. Listen,
I wish y'all could see me holding my forehead right now.
If y'all don't understand, Brandon got a house full of fucking plants. So
Bitch, where's my water?
Mama be so stupid. Like,
He said, bitch, where's my water? I was trying to hold it. I'm sorry.
You know I gotta water these plants, bitch.
I can't even think of nothing.
Where's my plant,
It be
bitch?
some shit
Why
like,
you
bitch.
saying it with a straight face, though?
Because I'm good at what I do.
Jesus help.
No, remember, this is what I just thought about. Remember when we was talking that day? I said something about we was going to go get a reality show. This going to be called Bitch, I Married My Gay BFF. Something like
That was years ago. No, we.
So I got an idea. Probably shouldn't say this, but I know how my brain works. Like I'm going to forget.
Mm-hmm.
We should have a whole episode of outtakes.
Oh,
that would be funny.
I don't think it's possible because I don't save the outtakes.
Damn, you ain't save them?
No, because it clips. It takes.
Oh, okay, so it takes them out when you edit.
It doesn't like compile them into a folder.
That would have been funny as fuck.
But I mean, in the future, if you want, I could start saving the larger segments and just like push them into a folder, and then maybe at the end of the year, if we say, let's say, if we start recording early December to have more episodes to post for the rest of the year, we could do an episode just full of outtakes and stuff that doesn't make it to the general episode.
That'll be funny as hell.
That's an idea.
That'll be funny as shit.
And for my next title,
oh my God,
Pimpin' Plant Daddy 2, Misty Rain.
Oh my gosh. See, I can't, because the way my brain's set up, I'm trying not to laugh, y'all, because if I start, I'm not going to stop. The way my brain is set up, I'm thinking practically, so I can't really think of anything outlandish. So it would be something like, something kind of normal, like the second baby mother is my sister or something. You know what I'm saying?
That sound like something you see on the divorce court.
Oh, look at me revealing my hand.
I see. I might actually write this book, Pimpin' Plant Daddy Chronicles.
I know, right? Like
Misty
you got
Rain,
me thinking.
That'd be the name of his plant, his nursery, and one of his bitches.
That's gonna be his bottom bitch.
All your plants named after your girls, and every time you watering a plant or you tending one, you talk about it. That's your code, so people don't know what you really talk about.
Here, Luscious, take this water.
You better grow and you better grow full. You hear me, bitch? Because if you down me, I'ma kill you, bitch.
All my bitches grow lovely. You can't see, but I'm rubbing my plants. I'm gonna take all of this out.
Come on, get this sunlight, bitch. Just take this out.
This is going on the blooper episode that comes out at the end of the year. I'm gonna take all of this and just put it aside. Okay.
That's funny.
Okay. So now, are you ready to get into this week's topic?
Okay.
I'm ready.
Y'all sure?
You catch my breath.
Well, I'm glad that we were able to laugh a bit. So, in doing research for this week's episode, I found a lot of interesting material. In some instances, millennials have been called the burnout generation. And based on a recent report from Blue Cross Blue Shield, everybody's favorite insurance provider.
Insurance.
The report is entitled Blue Cross Blue Shield, the Health of America Report. Burnout is a real thing that is impacting millennials in very real ways, especially when it comes to their mental health and emotional well-being. For example, according to the report, major depression had the largest growth and prevalence among the top 10 health concerns affecting millennials. What's more, millennial women are 20% less healthy than men, with major depression being one of the main drivers. So y'all ready for these questions?
I'm ready.
Okay. What have you noticed in how we handle or deal with mental health concerns as a generation?
I've noticed that people try to brush it under the rug. Like, they try to make it seem like it's no big deal. They try to work through things on their own. More so, but on the other hand, I do notice that in our generation, more so, people are more willing to get help. than they were in prior generations, like maybe our parents and our grandparents.
Yeah, we talked about that on the Parent and Our Parents
Yeah.
episode. Mm-hmm. What about you, Kim?
Excuse me.
Wait, were you done?
Yes.
Okay.
What I'm noticing about
Like how were we as a generation handling our mental health concerns or taking care of ourselves?
I think as a generation, we are more willing to acknowledge that there's an issue. Whereas generations before us were taught to, grin and bear it.
Right.
You just get it done.
Right.
You have to move on. You have to shoulder this, deal with it. Whatever it is, you have to deal with it. Don't talk about it. Let it go. It's supposed to make you stronger.
Right.
But I realized that this generation, our generation, is more willing to be open about what they're experiencing and what they're feeling, and not just smiling through it. Which is a good thing because, a lot of people, like we look at some of our idols, some people we looked up to and that we loved. Like one person that still gets me to this day is Robin Williams. Like that burns me to my soul when I think about that situation. Yeah. So, you never really know. And that really wasn't even just depression. That was declining health.
Right. So what was medical issues that he had? Was it like diabetes? It wasn't diabetes. It was something more serious than that?
Yeah, I can't remember the exact term for it, but it was a form of dementia that was causing him.
It was early onset, right? Because he was in his early 50s?
It was close to 60, I believe, if not in his 60s.
That's still early, though.
But it wasn't early onset. It was more so like it's a form of dementia. And this one not only causes depression, but it also causes insomnia. So he wasn't sleeping, and the sleeping was causing delusions, and the delusions was like impacting his life. Like he couldn't even really take roles because he wasn't sleeping. He wasn't in his right mind.
Right.
So I was reading on that the other day. It was so crazy. I was reading about it the other day, and then the next day he was trending on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, why is he trending on Twitter?"
Excuse me.
I felt crazy, like I manifested.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like why am I thinking about Robin Williams randomly, and then all of a sudden I get on Twitter?
He was 63 when he passed.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And he was trending.
I will never forget. So I've mentioned this before, but I'm a huge fan of The View. I watch The View pretty much every day, or at least watch the Hot Topic segment of the show every day. And I remember when that episode, I think the episode that when they came back after Robin Williams passed, and Whoopi was like visibly distraught. She was on, I think they actually had Billy Crystal come out to tell people the news, and she was visibly shaken about like the loss, because the three of them were like tight. Was it Comic Relief? They did that together back in like the 90s, and they were really close because they were in the same era of comedians that came up in the 80s and 90s. I think I mentioned in a previous episode, I loved Mork and Mindy. I loved Mrs. Doubtfire. Just watching Robin Williams' his humor and sense of comedy. Well, his comedy and sense of humor. I'm tongue tied today. It spoke to us even as kids, and it was something that his humor was intergenerational. There was something that we could pull from it as kids watching like Mrs. Doubtfire. And was he in Flubber?
Yes,
that's the one movie I don't think I watched.
He was in Flubber. He was like the some kind of professor or
was it
scientist or something.
He was in Dead Poet Society. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. That was a dramatic role.
Yes,
but he was in Dead Poet Society, and I know like my mother loved his humor. She was a huge fan of his as well, and just to see like how like, and it brought into perspective of how like so many people who are funny, they're comedians, they deal with so much behind the scenes because their default of what we see,
laugh to keep from crying.
They laugh to keep from crying, and they bottle it all up inside. And there's so many stories of like comedians and actors and people. Maybe it's somebody that that put on a brave face for everybody, but was dealing with things that were so dark when they were alone that maybe suicide was the only way they could deal with it, get through it. So next question. Do you consider yourself to be healthy overall?
Physically, I think I'm healthy for the most part. Mm-hmm. Like, I can stand to lose a pound or 10. But, yeah, physically, I think I'm fine. Overall, I don't really have many health problems. I got a little touch of asthma.
What's a turch?
A little touch of asthma.
What's a turch?
Just a little touch.
Just a little.
Yeah.
That's not supposed to be funny, y'all.
But
it's just a little cough.
I did hear her coughing earlier, right? Mm-hmm.
My throat was dry. Shut up.
That was a smoker's cough.
It was.
Ooh.
She right. I ain't gonna deny it. I need to. That's the worst part. I do.
Snuffle
I need to quit smoking.
Shut
up, yeah. But yeah, I do. quit smoking. But anyway, I think overall, physically.
What about mentally?
Mentally,
Yeah.
I could use a little help, which I do have. I talk about it all the time. I've said it in several episodes. I have a therapist. She's amazing. She saved a lot of lives because I think before I act now. But I suffer from anxiety and anxiety-induced depression, and I had PTSD. Not gonna get too deep into it, but therapy has really been very helpful.
Yeah.
For me in those terms.
Okay.
Yeah. So overall, I think I'm pretty healthy, but it ain't no such thing as perfect health. So.
Of course. All right. What about you, Key? Do you consider yourself to be healthy overall?
Mentally, I can tell you no. No.
Okay.
I do not. Number one, I do not sleep properly.
Same.
And when you don't sleep, you're not allowing your brain to rest. But I noticed that in my sleep, my brain does not rest. My brain continues to move, and it's always moving in several different directions. And then I notice that when I'm awake, my brain is always moving, and it's always moving in several different directions. I do so much. And I realized that as an introvert, one thing about me is that being alone charges me, but I'm never alone, so I'm never fully charged.
Yeah.
So I just know, like, I'm not mentally. No, I wouldn't consider myself. I wouldn't say that it's bad, but it could use some work.
Okay. I consider myself to be physically healthy. I may be, again, I'm built like a refrigerator.
Oh my gosh.
But I can go to the gym and be on the Stairmaster for 45 minutes to an hour, just walking around, looking around like, oh, okay, this is nice. I can keep up with the most strenuous Peloton class. I could do a lot of things physically. Mental health wise, I think I'm good. I do suffer from anxiety issues thanks to my lovely mother who had her stuff. I'm sure I've had depressive moments. Thankfully, I have not been diagnosed with depression, but I'm sure, like most of us, we all have depressive moments.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with adult ADHD when I was 34 or 35. And it shined the light on a lot of things, the ways like I operated when I was in college and like high school, where I loved to learn about certain things, but I was horrible at studying and taking tests.
Same.
But I could sit somewhere, and if it was a subject that would interest me, I would sit there for hours and just read like a book on the section. Like, for example, when I was in college, I think in my was it U.S. history class or world history class? I love studying history, but the teacher was moving too slow for me. So me being obnoxious, but not intentionally, the teacher would ask questions, and I would just blurt the answer out while I'm sitting there reading 4 chapters ahead in the book because the class is moving too slow for me. But if it's a subject I don't really care for, I'm just like, oh, get me out of this class. Why am I here?
I think my kid is the same way.
Yeah, well, most kids are at that age.
And he also has ADHD, so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't answer physically.
Physically, how do you feel? Because you went through a little weight loss journey last year.
She did. She looks amazing.
Little curvy now.
She looks amazing.
Thanks, guys. Physically, I think I'm okay, but it's always some things I'm going to be concerned about. Like, of course, with the not sleeping thing, I'm always going to be concerned about my head. And then, I have heart issues running in my family very closely. Biological father has been on the donors list for about 20 years now. So that's always concerning.
They kept you on the list that damn long. Sheesh.
I don't even know if he's still on it at this point, but I know he was put on it in 2003.
Right.
Physically, I think I'm good. If the world ended today, I think I would survive at least a couple years. So yeah, I could say that.
So how
be behind her like
you asked me to run, I'm gonna run.
That's why we need you to stop smoking, because man,
with the oxygen tank,
dragging the tank along with wheels.
Right, we got to travel 4, 5, 6, 1,700 miles to get her new oxygen tanks every 3 months.
I could use it as a weapon. That's the good part.
No, I need that.
Pick that bitch up and bust a zombie in the head.
And then put it on wheels and just drag it along behind you. Okay, so how has your mental health affected you now that we're older and looking, I guess, in hindsight, because of course hindsight is 2020. In what ways have you seen your mental health affect your life and the way you move, the way you do things, the way you relate to people? your energy levels. Like for you said, you deal with like insomnia. So how has, I guess overall, how has your mental health affected you?
Now that I think about it, I actually got some issues with. My thing is more putting my ass on a schedule.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
Because I'll wait until the last minute to do a bunch of stuff, and then I look up it's 1 o'clock in the damn morning. So I got to put myself on more of a schedule.
And that's based on your mental health?
No. I was just saying the sleep part.
Oh, sleep.
Yeah, but I think it has affected me in the way that I deal with people.
Okay.
Like I had to learn about boundaries and stuff. I would just do so much until I burnt myself out. So I had to learn to say no. I did. That was a tough one for me because I was always so used to running for everybody. So I had to learn to say no in order to keep myself a little more centered. I had to learn to cut people off who were affecting my mental health, and that included blood family.
Of course, it usually does.
Listen, I walk past them niggas in the street like I don't know them.
Yeah.
But I tell you, I feel a whole lot better because I'm not stressing out over people and stuff who don't appreciate me.
Yeah.
Who don't appreciate it. So I think that me getting help for my mental health has had a positive effect because, like I said, it helped me discover a lot about myself and help me to try to put myself first.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Kay?
You had to repeat the question, cuz.
How has your mental health affected you? Or how have you realized as you got older, how has like things, I guess your mental health concerns, maybe depression or like you said insomnia, like I said before, I asked the question, your insomnia is a byproduct of your mental health and not having alone time. But how has your mental health affected you?
It's made me realize some things. It's made me realize that there are certain things that I cannot do that will trigger, depressive moments or will trigger ill feelings that'll lead to negative thoughts.
Okay.
So now that I realize that there are things that I can and can't do, I don't do those things, or at least I try to work them. If it's something that's unavoidable, I will try to work through it and try to get to the reason why it upsets me.
Okay.
And then it's also giving me more of an insight on other people. You know what I mean? Like now I kind of understand how to handle certain people. Like sometimes you'll go to talk to people about what you're dealing with and they'll respond a certain way. And if you know they're going to respond a certain way, this is somebody you can't talk to. You know what I mean? So it's like, why even put yourself through that talking to that person? So now it's like, I know how to handle certain situations. I know how to handle certain people, who to talk to, who not to talk to. You know what I mean? So that I'm not throwing fuel on a fire. You get what I'm saying? Right. But it's also kind of made me understand who I am a little bit more. Like, I know I'm this person. I'm not that person. Okay. So I would say that it's definitely helped that. And it's definitely helped me see where I need to improve. Okay. And I would say, how has my mental health affected me? Thankfully, I am a person who has not really had, like I said earlier, I think I spoke on this a few moments ago, I don't really have too many mental health concerns outside of being diagnosed with adult ADHD. And Mrs. Howard, Shauna and I's shared therapist, has mentioned that because I'm a person who has anxiety, it kind of worked to my advantage because I'd be so anxious about missing deadlines and not getting stuff done that I would overcompensate to put up or to overcompensate for the effects that ADHD had. So I was able to, it kind of leveled itself out, but there's still, they work in tandem to the overthinking and all of the things. But yeah, I think I answered that already. So the report also observes a generational gap in the perception of mental health. When asked in a recent national survey conducted by Blue Cross Blue Shield, the majority, which is 68% of baby boomers and Gen Xers, think that their mental health is good or excellent, but only 49% of millennials say the same. Taking that a step further, we found nearly 3/4 of millennials think that mental counseling needs to change. Whether it's financial debt, consumption of social media, always connected work environments, or heavier workloads with fewer resources, there are many different factors that may cause higher levels of stress, anxiety, and depression in millennials compared to past generations. So the follow-up question to this is, in what ways do you attend to your mental health? If you realize that you're in a crisis moment or your mood is starting to shift or change, what ways do you, I guess,
soften the blow, or do you prepare yourself to be in that headspace, if anything?
I recently started journaling.
Okay.
Whenever I feel like I'm having one of those days where it's just like, this is just really, really bad, I will write it out.
Okay.
If I feel like it's coming on, I will kind of isolate.
Okay.
So that I'm by myself and I can work through it. But I will definitely try to be alone as much as possible to deal with it. But I'm also getting into the habit of changing my thinking. Whenever I start to feel things now, like if it's not something I want to feel, I try to redirect my thinking, not to think about that, but to think about something positive.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry. Repeat the last part of that question.
No problem. So, in what ways do you attend to your mental health? So, if you feel like your mood's about to change or you're undergoing a shift and you feel it, your energy shifting, what do you do to like soften the blow, or what do you do to prepare yourself to be in that headspace?
I try to. This one sound real silly. But it came from a TV show. You know how she was like, relax, release. Like, so I try to pinpoint what caused me to feel that way, first of all. Learned that in therapy. And if it's something that can be eliminated, I try to eliminate it.
Yeah.
I also try to rest. A lot of the times that helps. A lot of times rest help, like especially if I'm at home and I feel myself feeling some type of way. I'm like, oh, maybe you need to say I'm working on something.
Okay.
I push it to the side. All right, Shauna, relax your mind for a minute. Something else that helps me, I'll put on comedies. Whether it be a show or a movie or something that's going to make me laugh.
Yeah.
They helps with my mood a lot of the times. I try to watch stuff like that.
Them damn movies on Tubi you be watching?
They do be funny as shit, though. They do. But no, I just try to like put on something that's going to make me laugh and kind of try to take my mind off of whatever's going on for the moment. Oh, honestly, I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I might go pour myself a glass of wine because that helps relax me. So
yeah, okay. Ways that I attend to my mental health are, I could say that, maybe for me talking to Mrs. Howard is definitely one way, because I just be rambling that lady's ear off.
Baby, listen.
What else do I do? I like Shauna. I love to laugh. I feel that. If I'm dealing with something or something's on my mind, I prefer to watch comedies, or I'll look up funny stuff on TikTok or Twitter, or, my Twitter and TikTok bookmarks are filled with, besides the nasty things, they are filled with humorous things and things that make me laugh my ass off. So I always know that if I'm in a funk or in a mood, thankfully, me being a Sagittarius, those moods don't last long for me. But I know I have a place to go to pull me out of it, or to put me on my side or on the floor with just laughter, and that will get my mind out of this state, until the mood eventually passes. Which thankfully for me, it does normally. It does pretty quickly. But I will say, this past week I have been having like really crazy dreams. I've eaten, maybe the only thing I think I've changed is like I've eaten steak for like the first time in like several months. I eat steak and like beef infrequently, but I'm mainly like a fish and chicken eater.
Yeah.
And with me meal prepping steak this week, like I had a dream. It's weird because I'll go to sleep, and I've also been pushing to get like 7 hours of sleep, whereas before I'm like 5 or 6 hours. So on top of getting the 7 hours of sleep, when I lay down at night, I literally will fall asleep and wake up maybe 10 or 15 minutes later after having like this real intense dream. And let's say so Monday night, I had a dream that my house was on fire. And I woke up, I was like, what the hell is going on? And I looked on the camera on my phone, and like my whole living room was just on fire. And I woke up like, what was that? The next night,
I have some weird ass dreams too.
The next night I had a dream that I was like being attacked at knife point. I was mistaken for somebody else. And this guy was holding a knife up to my throat. And I was like, what the fuck, that ain't me. And I literally like startled awake. I'm like, what the? I had literally, I dream infrequently. Like I have dreams that usually are just benign, but this past week, my dreams have just been like off. So maybe eating the beef did something to me. I don't know. But
this is not something you usually do.
Right. I'm like I said, I rarely eat beef. So maybe eating the beef did. That's what he said. Maybe eating the beef caused me to have these weird dreams. I love steak.
I have weird dreams if I eat certain stuff before I go to bed. If I eat a lot of sweets before I go to bed, I have weird dreams. And my dreams never make sense. I try to sit up and put them, like if I wake up, I would try to like put them back together. And I'm like, what does that mean? Because it'd be like a host. It'd be like an entourage in my fucking dreams. Like it would be people that don't make sense together. Like it'll be like a coworker that I don't talk to. But then my aunt would be on the other side of the damn room dancing or some shit. And then it'd be like an elementary school teacher or some shit. Like, they never make sense. And I'm like, what the fuck do these people have in common? Like, I didn't really know the lady from work. So, like, I'm confused.
As soon as I wake up, and it's not good, of course, because you don't need to be looking at blue screens at that late of an hour and at night because it keeps you awake. Years ago, Key put us onto a website called dreammoods.com. And I would go on to say she just green.
I forgot all about that.
I'm on it right now.
And I would go on there and look up like what fire means and what like knife or being held at like knife point means. And it's like, so another thing with me, and it's not mental health, this is the inner side, semi-related. I have been seeing the number 54 everywhere for the past like 6 to 7 months.
No other numbers?
Usually it's like 54, but it's also like 1111. I'll touch on that in a minute.
Angel numbers.
Yeah. I was seeing the week after my mother.
Lottery.
I did. But the week after my mother passed, I saw 1111, no joke, every morning, every night for about 2 weeks.
I saw a number the week before my dad passed.
And I would be in the kitchen doing something. I'll look at my phone and be 1111. I'm like, really, Deborah? Okay. And after seeing it so long, I researched it.
And you said 1111 is angel numbers?
Yeah.
Oh, she up there cutting up.
But it's their way to, I guess, when I researched,
let you know they okay.
They're okay, or they're with you.
Okay.
Because of course
we knew she wasn't leaving you.
It took her. She didn't pop up in a dream after she passed. For me, it took like 6 to 8 months after she passed before she popped up in a dream of mine, and it didn't feel like a dream. It was just like I was at her house. We were there for like family dinner, and we had family. It was my sister, her husband, her kids, my sister's grandkids, and we were having family dinner. It was fun. I was in the kitchen cleaning up, washing dishes, and my mother walks in the door. She looks at me like, and I'm like, sis.
Like, am I the only one that see this?
Right. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, you playing in my face right now. That's what you're doing.
So shortly after my father passed, no, I'm lying. It was the same day. Because I was functioning on about 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Me and Key went to bed me and Key was on the phone cutting up. We realized it was after midnight. The night before, somebody had called my phone like 2 a.m, but it was apparently the wrong number.
Yeah, you told us this.
Remember?
You told us in the previous episode that the night finally he passed.
So anyway, when I finally got home that night, after family popped up at the house and all that stuff, I finally got home that night and I got in the bed.
Yeah.
And I was going to sleep, and the way my bed faced my door, but I had my back turned. I was turned the other way, trying to get comfortable, trying to get some sleep because I couldn't rest. And my floor squeaked. I turned over I looked around. I said, Daddy, I'm okay. Floor ain't squeaked the rest of the night. I said, see, this is some creepy shit. But that happened to me more than once. One of my coworkers passed away. Me and him were really close. It was like my grandfather. I love that man. And I had just seen him that Friday. He passed over the weekend.
Right.
I got the call that Saturday night that he was gone. And the same night I got the call, again, I went to go to sleep. I felt the foot of my bed sink down like somebody sat on the foot of my bed. And I turned over and I was like, Mr. L, I'm good. I'm okay. And I promise y'all, and people thought I was crazy. I said, no, seriously. And I turned back over and I felt the bed lift up like somebody got up off my bed. And I was like, I just felt like, because he used to always creep. It tickled the shit on me because before I turned my desk around in my office to face the door, he used to sneak up behind me because my back was to the door.
Right.
And I would feel him and I would turn around and jump. And he was like, because your ass was in here doing something you ain't in the business doing. So that's what I felt like he was trying to creep up on me again because my back was to the door, trying to let me know I'm all right. Yeah. But it just, that I never believed in that kind of stuff until it happened to me.
Oh, yeah.
I just told my father one time, I said, Daddy, don't appear in my house, please, because my nerves too bad for this. And because of who I work for, I can't smoke no weed. So they call my damn nerves. I'm being hip to a bottle of wine like.
And I remember, Key, after your grandfather passed, you said that, and it didn't happen, it would happen to your son, where y'all were at your grandmother's house, and you said Dante came, and Dante was maybe like, what, 3 or 4?
He's about 4.
And you said he came out of the room, he was like, Grandpa, or whatever he calls him, Pop was in the room, and you went and y'all said, I smelled his cologne, and he said Dante smelled his cologne or something like that.
Can't see that kind of stuff, because I believe I was pregnant with Trey, and my grandmother, his father's grandmother, and my uncle all died like a couple weeks apart. My grandmother and my uncle died a day apart, mother and son. And when Trey was born, he used to lay in his crib and crack up laughing, looking at the sky, kick his little feet and stuff. And I always was convinced that that's who was talking to him, especially my uncle, because he reminds me so much. And he's built like my uncle and everything, tall and skinny, and eat everything in the house. Act just like my uncle. He's sarcastic like him, but he got my grandmother's heart. My grandmother was, well, she was to me. My cousin swears she used to beat them up. They clearly did something. But I always believed in that. And I had a boyfriend back in the day who was one of them. He was real spiritual type of person, felt people energies and stuff like that. And when he started first coming to my house, my apartment that I had at the time, he described my grandmother to a T. He never met my grandmother.
Right.
Never seen a picture of her. He said, there's a lady that stay in Trey's room all the time, and she always just leaning over, smiling at him and checking on him. And he described my grandmother. Freaked me out. I was about to call Ghostbusters on that nigga because I was scared.
Not you calling Ghostbusters on him.
I was nervous.
We don't live in Long Island, but you better call Teresa Caputo, the Long Island medium.
Oh my gosh.
I was nervous. I was like, what you mean there's a spirit in here? And he said, you ever walked around, you felt something warm go past you? And I said, yeah. He said, that was her. I said, oh, hey, grandma. Hey, girl.
Have y'all ever? I've read somewhere that if you ever feel like a random chill go through your body, it's like a spirit or something moving past you, moving through you.
But I heard that's not a good. Somebody told me if it's warm, it's a good spirit.
Okay.
Like somebody that's there to protect you. If it's a cold spirit, you need to talk to the Lord. That's what I was told growing up.
It happens to me. It happens infrequently. It's like, oh,
yep. I get it happen. It's happened to me
random
several
chill,
times.
and I'm like,
it happened to me in court one day. Yeah. They had just called somebody up to the thing, and I was like, ooh, you is up the devil, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, it's weird. Going back to that, yeah, it's so weird because I've been seeing the number 54. It's been at least six to 8 months. It's on license plates and receipts. And I went to driving down the street. It's on the gas station. Price was $3.54, or it's on somebody's license plate, or it's the time. I literally catch 54 pretty much every hour, every few hours on the clock.
My birthday keep coming up on the clock.
And when I researched it, because it's an angel number, it's like it marks like completion or the era of completion. And I'm like, but completing what? Like, what's? I'm like, can you give me a hint? Like, I was like, Lord, after this week of dreams I had, I hope it's not the completion of my mental health state declining and turn into the Joker or something.
Lord.
No, maybe it means you're about to transition into a new period. A new phase in your life,
right? And that's what the angel number, the websites I was saying. It said you want into a new phase. It's the end of an era, start of a new one. I'm like, well, start of what era? Like, what does it mean? Because if it's been going on for this long, it must be a big one. If it keeps saying, no, I'm right here. Look,
I don't know. We might be about to take off.
But Martin said we about to blow up.
This face belongs on the tizzy.
I don't know. That sounds kind of personal. You know?
Does it?
Yeah, that sounds personal.
I don't think I ever mentioned this to y'all, but I'm like, I don't know what it means. And for the longest, I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, my health is good. I'm not like, thankfully, I don't have any physical health issues. I'm healthy.
Yeah.
So the end of what era? The start of what new era? I'm like, what does it mean? I don't know.
Maybe it's something you wanted to do that you've been thinking about that you're actually going to pursue.
So I'm like, what?
I don't know. Maybe it's something you thought about at one point and you let it go.
Oh, we're not going to talk about that because we made a deal that neither one of us fell through. Yeah, just go ahead and sip your wine. We made a deal both of us fell through on the end of last year.
It could mean that it's an opportunity about to come your way that's just going to change everything. It could mean anything.
Translate that. It means I'm fitting to move into the east wing of your house. They gonna know I'm there. I'm gonna be outside like.
Maybe it's the podcast.
It's a possibility.
Because was I seeing it before we had the conversation in New York? I think it might have started happening after that. And it's weird because like when I would go buy lottery tickets, I ain't gonna lie, like most of us, when Mega Millions get to $1 billion, I play. Powerball get to $1 billion, I play.
Baby, we bought tickets all the way down from New York
back in the summer
Maryland,
when it was over $1 billion.
When we went to New York to see The View, which is when we talked about this podcast in the first place. That was what, late June?
July 28th or 29th.
It was late July because I came back and went to Miami 2 days later.
And I came back that night.
And then left the next morning
to go to Boston. I went to Boston for a week. And I was like, I'm never doing this shit again.
Baby, we was tired.
But we stopped. We were in Manhattan, and literally every newsstand,
tickets in Manhattan.
People were lined up to buy lottery tickets.
We bought tickets in Jersey. We bought tickets in Delaware, and then we came back and bought tickets in Maryland. Ain't even I didn't even get $2. I did hit the Mega Millions last week though, y'all. I won $2. So I just bought another ticket. That's why
I don't even play.
Let me get.
I got my $2.
Let me get 50 cents.
I got you, bro. I got some change in the car.
Use a real one.
We gonna split this shit 3 ways. We can't get nothing but a box of Mike and Ike's for the store.
Can you get Mike and Ike's for 50 cents?
Baby, they 35 cents a box now. I said, oh, you stinking bastards. You remember they used to be like 15 cents? They 35 cents a box.
So I heard recently that the bag of remember you used to go to the corner store when we were kids, you can get 4 bags of chips for $1?
Not no more. They $3, $4 now.
They 3? I thought it was $2 for $1.
One store I went in, they was $3, $4. I think I was in the market and they was $2 for $1. I was like, and it still ain't nothing but 4 chips in the
right. and then the crumbs at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Them crumbs be the best part. They'll be all the salt.
Seasoning. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yo.
Okay, back on topic.
See, this is what happens when you got 2 people with ADD.
Oh Lord.
And one of them's drinking wine while the other 2 are drinking tart cherry juice.
Wine it's juice. It's grape juice.
Fermented grape juice. Praise the Lord Saints. Anyway, okay. Describe a time where your mental health left you impaired, or better yet, or even worse, seriously impaired, to where you couldn't get out of bed, or you were just stuck in a place that you weren't normally in.
I did have I can't remember when it was, maybe in the last few years. I had a couple days where I could not get out the bed. I was depressed. Like I had to make myself get up and eat. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I think I might have responded to some text messages and stuff just so, nobody was in 911 in my house or no shit. Because I'm always usually the one that answer, you know.
Right.
So, if I don't answer, something wrong.
Yeah.
But I was just down. I was depressed. Yeah. I forgot exactly what had happened. But I think I cried most of the day. I think I chain smoked that day. Like, I just was chain smoking. And I was like, Shauna, at least try to put something on your stomach. Right. So I did manage to finally get out. I think I ordered food. I was home by myself. Trey wasn't home. Yeah, I think I was down for like 2 days.
Really?
And like physically nothing was wrong. I just couldn't deal. So I just laid there and I think I watched TV all day and cried a couple times. I'm sitting here, Shauna, why are you sitting here watching sad movies? Like, turn this shit off.
Right.
But I did. I sat there and was watching shit, was in the house ugly crying. Was watching Y'all and Fix My Life marathons. Like, I understand what you going through. Oh my God. I had the Viola Davis snot bubble coming out my damn nose. Like, it was a lot.
Shout out to the EGOT. Yes. Viola Davis, who just won her first Grammy last week.
Yes, honey. What is she, the third black woman?
She just won her Grammy back in February. Yeah.
She's the third black woman?
The third. Whoopi Goldberg, Jennifer Hudson, and now her. Yeah,
yes, she's the EGOT. She should have been had that baby because I ain't gonna let that snot bubble go. That was one of my favorite scenes. And I was standing right there. That was my shit. I'm sorry.
After my grandfather passed,
okay.
I was no good. I was no good. Like, one thing, I'm honest with my son about everything. I'm open with everything. I make sure he knows he can talk to me about everything, but I refused to let him see me like that. I would go to the bathroom frequently just to cry. I would go to the bathroom to cry frequently and couldn't get out the bed half the time. So another thing that I realized I was doing is that I just...
And while she's coughing, hopefully me saying this on the podcast doesn't jinx it, but I just literally saw the number 54 and I just showed them. But proceed.
Sorry, y'all. So
You're fine. You need some water?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
So I noticed that one thing that I was doing outside of going to the bathroom to cry all the time, I was having a hard time getting out of bed, and my energy was so low that I was so concerned about it rubbing off on my child that I was like faking it.
Same. I've been there.
It's just, it was bad. It was so bad. I didn't really want to talk to people. And then I realized when I was talking to people that I was faking it. And it was bad. I really didn't know how I was going to make it through that. I was like, I couldn't see that light at the end of the tunnel. I was broke, y'all. I was really, really hurting. And that's when I started writing for the first time. And it's like, that literally got me through.
Okay.
Because I was like, okay, this is somebody else's life that I'm writing, and it took me out of that situation.
Do you feel that you use writing as a way to work through your own, or writing was the medium through which you worked through your own mental health concerns?
I feel like, yeah. Okay. It gave me that peace of mind and that ability to step outside of Kiana in order to focus on something else, so that when I came back to Kiana, I could think a little bit more clearly. Okay. But that situation, I mean, I'm never gonna forget that. Like that was such a dark moment for me. Mm-hmm. Like to this day, I have not been back to the graveyard, and I think this is what really, really got me. I mean, it was already painful, but my grandmother's one of the strongest people I know. I've never seen my grandmother upset. And when we were at the cemetery burying him, because we ended up having to bury him a couple of days after the funeral,
right?
Because he was getting buried at the veteran cemetery,
right.
and they were only
my
open.
Grandmother the next day,
right? They were. I think they were only available a certain time.
Yeah, you gotta make an appointment for the VA.
Same with my mom.
So. My grandmother was like, she wanted me to ride with her. So I'm riding with her in the back of the limo. And we get to the cemetery. We weren't allowed to go up to where they were burying him because it was up on a hill and they were putting him in the vault first and then putting the vault in the ground. And that was the first time in my entire life I ever saw my grandmother cry. And I have never been able to get that out of my mind. And I just kept replaying it and replaying it and replaying it. And it just broke me. Yeah. Like that was a really dark moment. Like that was scary for me. That was really scary because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do because I'm not making it through this.
Yeah. I mean, it's always hard. Yeah. I know like when that was something I didn't know when we buried my mother at the veteran cemetery as well. I didn't know they were going to put her body in the vault and then lower her into the ground while we were in the car. So it's like, I didn't know we were seeing this, but okay. And we stayed in the cars and we watched it. And the little backhoe was literally right there next to the gravesite.
Yeah. Right.
And they were literally, they lowered the body. I was like, okay, I don't need to see them put dirt over it. So what about you? So like.
With my grandmother, they didn't, my grandmother got buried on top of my grandfather.
Okay.
So they didn't let us see them put her in the ground either. They told us where she was going to be. They took out the hearse and set her up on like this little marble thing. Let us say our final goodbyes, but they didn't let us stay for the actual burial part. They just let us know they had opened it up and everything, but they didn't let us stay for that part. Whereas with my uncle, they let us stay and because we had to bury him the next day too. We had a night funeral for them, so neither one of them got buried until the next day because I think he was buried at a separate VA, if I'm not mistaken. Right. But they let us stay. Excuse me, and watch us. That part, I don't think I've ever want to stay and watch nobody get lowered again. That was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. So
that was a lot.
Did you described a time when your mental health left you impaired, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we talked about with Key, like how writing is how she got into writing and that's how she was able to work through it. What ways were you able to like, I guess, what things did you start to take on to get you to step back from yourself, but be able to work through your mental health processes and your concerns that you might have, had before you started seeing Mrs. Howard?
Well, before that, I'm be honest and say I don't think I really knew how to work through it. But the best way that I realized later on that worked was kind of like surrounding myself with my family and my friends, the people the ones I actually like.
That's a magic. That's a key,
that's the magic word. The ones I actually like. So I'm the type of I like to hold stuff. Brandon and I'm gonna tell you that I let her have a get together.
I need some
because I like to
dip.
cook. I got you, baby.
Oh, praise the Lord.
Because I got to make a French toast bake for this one birthday.
Oh yeah.
So look, you see my shoulders.
Wait, this supposed to be after my birthday, right?
No, you can get it for your actual birthday.
I'm talking about this.
This episode, this episode, we're not going to say when we're recording it like we do every other episode with everything else. But no, I have the calendar. Let me look it up. This episode is going to come out, on your actual birthday. And I have questions for you before we go into the Q&A segment. I have questions for you.
Oh, she does.
She
so, yes. When y'all hear this episode, it will be Kiana's actual birthday.
I guess we should have said this at the top of the episode, but happy birthday.
Why, thank you.
We love you.
You're
very,
27?
very much.
27?
27. No. What the little girl say on that video for Christmas? Hell yeah. No. No, I'm not ashamed to admit. Turning 37 is a privilege because we know so many people that didn't even make it to 20.
Listen.
You know, and it's sad to say that we know so many people that didn't make it to 20. We know so many people that didn't make it to 21. We saw people get close but not make it to 25. It's
people we didn't see make it to 30.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, it really is young. Like we just talked about deaths. I just had 2 in my family, and one of them was an uncle. And looking up at it and looking at it and thinking he was like 61, I think. and you think like 61 is old. You know, you think that, but it's really not when you think about it. When you think about 61, it's not. So then you really think of us compared to a 61-year-old. It's like we're babies, basically.
I agree.
And then somebody told me that 40 is the new 20. So if 40 is the new 20 and we're in our 30s, we're only teenagers. Like, basically, you know what I mean? Like, basically. So, and I'm not ashamed to say 37. I'm not going to keep acknowledging that because, you know, Prince said don't do that.
Not Prince said.
Prince said don't do that.
You don't look a day over 30.
Okay, thank you.
And it runs in her family.
That skincare routine is popping.
Thank you.
The edges is laid today.
Thank you.
But yeah, I have questions for you. Since this is the start of a new year for you, I have some good questions. They're not spicy. They're actually good questions.
I was about to say, Lord, there's a fire.
Lord Jesus, there's a fall. But to answer the question, describe a time that my mental health left me impaired. I never told y'all this, but before I started seeing my first therapist, this therapist I got before Mrs. Howard, this was back in, I think, 2017 or 2018. I was out. And before, you know, I come from a family, I think I mentioned this before, where we don't talk about anything. It's grin and bear it. We don't talk about feelings and emotions, and that was foreign to me. So I think I was out one day, out on a Sunday, like running errands, or just out and about. And I was in the car in DC on 14th Street in traffic, and I just started breaking down. Like, I started tears in my eyes. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know where it came from. And I literally had to, it was a struggle to get home.
I've had moments like that.
And I was like, I don't know why, like, my body just heaved forward, and I was crying and snot bubbles, and I was just a wreck. And I was like, I was fine a moment ago. Like, what was the cause of this? And I think
that's happened to me. I had a conversation with Miss Howard about that.
Yeah.
And she was like, what triggered you? I said, I don't know that particular day. But then when I went back, and you ever revisited and thought of a trigger? Like, it could be a word. I found out it could be a word. It can be a phrase. I think I was watching something one day, and I'm not even paying no attention. It's something specific they said, and then all of a sudden I just was like, and I just started crying.
Yeah.
And I had to really think back on it, because at the moment she first asked me, I was like, girl, I don't know. I thought I was having a mental break or something. I got scared.
Yeah, I'm an emotional person, but I'm not a person that'll just cry at, like, the mention of puppies or, you know, babies or puppies and babies or any, like, I'm not a person.
Puppies and babies.
You know, the soft stuff. You know, we love puppies, we love babies, you know. But I'm not a person that gets emotional over, like, seeing stuff on TV.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty even-keeled, emotionally person, as I've always been, even when I was a kid. So that was bizarre to me. And I was like, you need to go talk to somebody, because if you just sit in traffic at a red light listening to music, and you go from 1 minute just bowing your head or on your phone waiting for the light to change to just like, something's going on and you need to work through that. Thankfully, I did. I met with my first therapist. Again, I don't remember what the trigger for that was, because again, at this point, it was 5 years ago. But that actually got me started on my therapy journey. So, next question. In what ways do you feel you could be better supported in dealing with your mental health?
Better supported?
Yes, better supported. Or let's bring the question closer to home. How can we support you better in dealing with your mental health?
Can you go ahead?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think anybody can be supported by being understood. You know what I mean? Trying to understand, maybe not understand triggers, because there are a multitude of triggers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And sometimes we don't always know what a trigger is until it happens. But maybe just kind of understanding and accepting that this is just how some people are. You know what I mean? Like, or how we each are. Like, I don't know if I want to say this friend's name, but we'll all kind of understand and know who I'm talking about. Like, we have this one friend who seems to be, I don't want to say happy-go-lucky all the time, but this person is not very serious. And I think we need to understand that sometimes that this seriousness is not this person making light of situations, but maybe this is just how they cope with situations. You know what I mean?
I had to learn that too.
So that's what I think. I think we just try to be more understanding of how each other handles things.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so how can Key and I support you better in dealing with your mental health, man?
I I personally feel like that y'all do support me.
So one question, I'm a push Shauna out there. You ordering some food or something?
No. I was sending a ride for my favorite.
Oh, okay. About to
auntie.
say, but you ordered Kia a stripper for her birthday?
She would kill me.
Yeah, about to say if she did that, I know she don't love me.
No,
Mary,
I know I do love her because I would know not to get a male stripper.
Okay, all right.
Because if I bring a female stripper with a big booty, she'll be all right.
Yeah,
She don't do male strippers.
Yeah,
now she don't do girls, but she'll do a female stripper.
Yeah, because they entertaining.
She's like, they more entertaining.
Yeah.
Don't you bring me no male stripper.
Yeah, I don't no male stripper.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, so how can we support you better in dealing with your mental health?
I would say that I feel like y'all are very supportive of me. I can be, and this is growth. But
GROWF.
I can be a bit much at times. And I tend to overreact. And a lot of times Brandon and Kiana have had to bring me back down to earth. Like, listen here.
What?
Take a breath and let it out.
Yeah.
Calm your nerves.
Like you did before we started recording today?
Like, girl, if you don't cry it out and get yourself together.
Right. Like, get your life together. It's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Calm down.
Go ahead and cry. But
Listen.
once you're done crying, this is what you need to do.
Move on and let that shit go.
Mm-hmm. Don't even worry about that. Don't sweat that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, I will say that out of everybody, I probably can name a few more people who have been supportive of my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
That's about it. I appreciate everything that y'all do to me. For me.
Right.
That y'all do for me. I do. So when it comes to YouTube, I don't think y'all can be any more supportive than y'all already are.
Okay.
It's a few more people who could. I ain't gonna put them out there like that. But I had to also learn that everybody doesn't know how to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They don't know how to.
And people also deal with trauma and stress and things in different ways. And maybe that's not the way you need it to be dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say,
I think sometimes I need to have a foot put in my ass.
oh yeah.
I do. I can admit that.
Yeah. I know like sometimes for me, when it comes, so I guess I can't ask myself the question, but I will say ways that y'all can support me better in dealing with my mental health. I think I need to be more open. And again, this is a process. They can attest to this. I would not talk about anything regarding my personal life or myself before coming out of the closet. And I think that played a large part in that. He just started grinning.
Because I would bite him. I would just. Sorry,
Yes.
it just.
Jonathan Major.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption.
I thought okay. But prior to my coming out, all those decades ago, back in the olden times, I was so closed off, and I think for me that was like a defense mechanism. In my juvenile brain, I thought that, well, if I don't ever mention anything about myself, nobody would know. But clearly, people were like, "We waiting on you whenever you ready," because baby, we see it. Mm-hmm. We all see it. Mm-hmm. Shauna was like, yeah. But yeah, that's legitimately how my brain worked. If I don't ever say anything about myself, I just show up stone-faced, just a giant brick wall. Nobody will ever get to know me as a person, and then they won't see that. And I think there are still some vestiges of that to this day, to where I find it hard to open up to people. And I tell y'all all my damn business at this point. It ain't much going on nowadays, but I have to learn how to be more forthcoming when I'm going through things, because I'm so used to just grinning and bearing it, or just being like, well, I got to deal with it on my own, or I'll talk to Mrs. Howard and then the verbal diarrhea of all of that. But I also feel like I need to be more open with things. And I can say y'all have been an amazing support system for me over the years. When I brought stuff to y'all, if I have a question, if I'm working through something, y'all are good to just bounce ideas off of. So yeah, I don't think there are really ways that y'all can support me better. Because I know Shauna, if there's a concern, if I'm not answering the phone, or if she is concerned, she will get in her car,
sure will,
and drive down. I
ain't knocking. I'm opening the door, and if I walk in on something, I'm like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Call me later on.
Tell I didn't know you was. Well, I didn't know you could do that.
I'm called Key like. You was in here face down.
We need you to come up with some kind of code or something. So if that's the case, you can't answer the phone because you.
Well, first off, it ain't nothing lasting all day to where I can't respond within an hour. So, and second of all,
what you mean on break?
On break, or
on break. You came out here to get you some water.
Okay, wait. He just said that on record. So if he don't answer the phone, then we know that we need to squad up and come up here.
We don't talk on the phone no way.
Okay, but if we call you or we text you and you don't respond within a decent amount of time, that means squad up.
Well, yeah, of course. Yep.
Okay.
Because but I think
for the record,
when y'all, and it's for the record, because again, I'm a person who is always available most times, especially for them.
And usually, if he don't answer, he'll send a message back like I'm on a phone call or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. He'll call back.
Yeah.
I usually give him like an hour to call me back. If he don't call me back, I'm like, keep what you doing.
You ain't gotta say what you're doing. Just tell me what's going on.
Yeah, but that's the thing with me.
Code names, sweatpants, and t-shirt.
Being a person who, even when my phone is on Do Not Disturb, Key and Shauna are in my favorites for their personal cell phones, their house numbers, if they still have cell phones for both of y'all. But they are two of maybe 5 people in my favorite. So even if my phone is on Do Not Disturb, the phone will ring through if my phone is on Do Not Disturb. So and I think there's ever been an instance in 30 years of knowing each other to where I'm off the grid for any sort of reason whatsoever, at least to the point where they can't reach me. So if I'm not answering the phone, they know something, especially after a period of time, and I didn't say something up front, they know automatically something's not right. Mm-hmm. So thankfully, that's good. Next question, if I can unlock my iPad, which, okay, there we go. Do you think that there is a way for society to improve upon how mental health is handled or treated, especially in terms of our respective generation?
I think we're on the way.
Okay.
I think we are. I think more people are starting, like Shauna said earlier, are starting to get help. And I think there's more attention to it. And now there's more conversations about what's needed about mental health and the seriousness of it. I think we're well on the way. And I hate to say this, but I think once we are dang, I'm trying to think of a delicate way to say this. I think once the generation of get over it is gone, we will be in a better position to really deal with mental health.
I agree. To piggyback off of what Key said, I feel like I still feel like it's a mental health is a sore subject, even though we are out here getting help more so than our previous generations, whereas our mothers, our grandmothers, our fathers, our aunts and uncles or whatever, it's not being swept under the rug as much. I sometimes feel like people use mental health as an excuse for certain behavior.
I can.
For certain behavior, sometimes people use mental health as an excuse. Oh, she's this. Oh, no, she's that. Oh, no, you. Especially for people who have the resources. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I don't want to mention no names, but it's a specific, rapper who people are quick to throw out that is something mentally going on with him.
Yeah.
But he has the resources to get the help that other people may not based on the kind of money that he has. But then I had to also realize that you have to want to help.
Yeah.
You have to want the help. So yeah, he got those same resources, but he has to want that help. So with, society want to label people as crazy and this, that, and the third. But sometimes people genuinely need that help. And they don't know how to get it. They're not surrounded by the right people to help them get that. I'm gonna tell a story. I'm not gonna say who said this to me, but I'm gonna tell this story. I remember when I was first diagnosed
with
PTSD. I had PTSD.
Okay.
I have anxiety. I have depression. I'm not ashamed because I feel like my story may be able to help somebody.
Of course.
Of course. And I remember telling a certain person about what my diagnosis was, and they asked me, well, "Where the hell you get that from?"
That's another thing I wish would stop.
What?
What do you mean? Where did you get that from?
I wish people would stop this thinking that you have to have gone through something to feel these things. Because that's not necessarily the situation.
I know where my PTSD came from. My PTSD came from childhood trauma.
Yeah.
That part is true.
Yeah.
It came from childhood trauma. But my issue was that this person knew this and didn't acknowledge it. That was my issue.
Okay.
And then I had to remember, again, learned it in therapy, everybody is not ready to acknowledge certain things.
Right.
So I can't get mad at people. Mrs. Davis, shout out to her. I love that lady.
Who's Mrs. Davis?
I mean, not Miss Davis, Miss Howard. Lord, I'm thinking of the wrong person. Miss Howard told me that I cannot be angry at people for being exactly who I knew that they were. That hit me in my chest when she said that. I was like, but you right.
Yeah.
You right, sis. And she sat there with this look on her face like, bitch, I know I'm right. I got the degree. I know what I'm talking about.
But it
took me a long time to understand that.
The thing that gets me about her, and I love her for this, she will drop a bomb and just sit there with the straight face
and
and wait for you to get it.
And say, right? And I'm like, yeah, ma'am. Like, she ain't to be played with. She ain't. So it's like, yeah, people lack accountability as well. And another thing about, instead of sitting here laughing at this person being crazy, try to help them. You can be the person that changed their life.
But
instead of laughing at it.
But I also realize that everybody can't help with everything, and everything isn't everybody's journey to undergo with you.
I agree with that, Bray.
When it comes to certain things in life, I've realized that you can't take everyone with you, and everybody isn't going to be a part of your journey or your story. And you can't take on everybody's I look at it.
Emotions.
You may not have the bandwidth to take on people's emotional bandwidth.
That's true. That's why I stopped talking to certain people about things. I know who I can speak with.
Yeah. That's the thing about getting older is you learn that even though you have different levels of friendship or different types of friendships or relationships with people. And like you just said, not everybody can handle the emotional bandwidth you need. And it's a lesson that sucks to learn.
It is.
But
it hurts to learn.
It hurts to learn, but it's a necessary one to learn.
It's a necessary lesson. And like, I know that I can call and talk to Key about when it comes to raising teenage boys. Because she get it. Because she raised one. Right?
But you wouldn't talk to me necessarily about, well, Trey is my godson, but again, I wouldn't be able to.
You understand things to an extent and you step in when necessary.
Right. But I wouldn't be able to understand the parenting portion of it because again, I don't have any kids.
Right. And then,
but y'all will be a resource for me when I do have kids. I'm gonna say go to your own house. I ain't dealing with you.
Lord, not go to your house.
You listen. You gonna get the grandma treatment from me.
That's fine.
You know what that is?
Ice cream.
It's fine.
And cookies. He ain't even mean it. He ain't even. She does that with Trey.
I know she does.
I know my baby. He didn't.
That's my
do that.
soft spot. Like I just can't see. I just can't see Trey doing anything wrong. Even when I hear it, it's like, okay, it'll be okay.
I was a teenage boy. I knew what was happening and what I was doing at that age. But so yeah.
Girl.
All right.
He didn't do that. Not my Trey. Yes, he did. Come get him. Him up.
So this is how I know we are in sync because y'all are leading me right into my next question. How have you seen generations after us approaching dealing with their mental health in ways that we as millennials have not?
Oh, well, I can't really say for sure because I really don't fool with anybody behind us.
Like, well, I mean, you have nephews.
Yeah,
that are millennials, your son.
But
I mean, the generation.
Well, let me use those people as you brought them up.
Yeah.
My oldest nephew is actually a millennial. He's like in that last group of millennials. Mm-hmm. And then his brother is what? Gen Z?
Early Gen
Z? I don't see him dealing with mental health at all. It's like if he has any issues, I don't see that.
Yeah.
And then my other nephews, they are
teenagers.
Very stoic.
Really?
So I don't know. And then my son is like king stoic. So I don't know. You know what I mean? And it's like he's very calm and cool about everything. Yeah. And the only thing that I ever see him really like give me emotions with is when I'm embarrassing him. Like Return of the Mac came on in the car the other day.
His face turned look redder than this wine.
No, he don't turn red now. He just give me this look. And then I said something to her the other day. I was like, son, I know I do a lot of weird stuff, and instead of you saying, why, you asking questions, you just let me be weird. Why is that? And he just looked at me like, 'cause you weird. Like, he ain't say it, but he gave me that look like, because you weird and it's okay. Like, he just gave me that look, and I was like, you just be letting me do weird stuff.
He's very accepting.
Yes. He was like, and then I was like, why don't you question stuff? I said, it's like, you just be like,
because it is what it is.
And then he would give me the blue ivy face, the blue ivy disgusted face. And I'd be like, but at the same time, I know he's laughing at me on the inside. Oh, yeah. He'd just be looking at me like yeah. I wish I could do it without laughing. But I was trying to show him the faces he be giving me. I'm like, you be giving me some faces. And he just was like, no, I don't. And I was like, yes, you really do. But back to the mental health. With whatever's going on, if anything is going on with him, I would not know it because he is very, very
insular.
Contained.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
he got emotional one time recently, and that's because the subject of having his back came up, and he got a little emotional about that.
Okay.
And we ended up having to hug it out, and I was like, "Now if it come down to anything, if anybody got you, it's me."
Yeah.
So he was a little emotional about that. So but that's about it. Like and I think it stems from the situation as a child where he was going through stuff at school and the adults around him weren't really handling that situation. And I think that kind of taught him.
And God, mommy was ready to pull up.
Right. I think that kind of taught him to
would let me go.
He's got this armor around him, so nothing penetrates him. So if he's dealing with something, I have absolutely no clue. Like I said, I was going to see if maybe I can get him into therapy and maybe he'll open up. I really don't think he will.
It's worth a try.
It's worth a try. Nothing beats a fail but a try.
And also,
I got Trey into therapy, and I'm about to put him back in it because he graduated from the therapy he was in.
Yeah.
And I'm about to put it back in him because I felt like that he would talk to that lady about things that he wouldn't talk, no matter how much. We're still mommy. So no matter how much we sit there and say, just come talk to me, just come talk to me, just come talk to me. And I can admit my faults where, I'm trying not to fuss now about stuff because I've realized, Shauna, you was his age before. And when somebody would fuss and holler and scream, you was shut down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I realize he's so much like me. I tell him all the time, I say, my job is to protect you. I'm always going to protect you. I say, I don't care how mad I get or how angry I get or whatever. If ain't nobody ever going to have your back, it's going to be me. It's going to be me. Yeah. But I get it. As a teenager, a lot of teenagers don't know, no matter how close you are with your parents. Some shit you don't want to talk to your parents about. So I tell them, we'll call your Uncle Brandon. We'll call your Uncle Brian. Or maybe you'll talk to this therapy lady. I think he just really I think he just had a little crush on that lady. She was cute. I really do, because he would get on there like, hey, good morning. Like, first of all, you heard it too hard. Let's not do this. I just know my kid don't discriminate. He like him all flavors child. And I just realized my son like thick women.
I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
But I'm not allowed to say that I'm fat because he gets the attitude. There's nothing wrong with you, Mom. I was like, you want some ice cream?
Back to Dante. How do I say this? I have a soft spot for Dante because his birthday is the day after mine. And I feel that in a lot of ways I can relate to him. Yeah. Because our personalities, and you can attest to this because you've known me since we were kids, our personalities are very similar in the way we deal with things.
Sarcastic for no reason.
Did that too. But just being, I was very stoic at that age. I was very chill, just cool as a cucumber always. But also having a bit of a similar relationship with my dad that was really non-existent to an extent, and not having that male figure to relate to or to ask questions or be around. Yeah. That also led me to be even more insular, because it's like, well, damn. And not the fact that I internalized not having my dad around, but of course you ask the question like, well, what did I do? Or
not realizing that it had nothing to do with you.
It had nothing to do with me.
Yeah. It's them.
So part of I've found that when I do come over to Key's house, I make it a point to interact with Dante, or to even check on him via text. I send him money for his birthday and for Christmas every year, and I try to say, hey, if you need me, I'm here. Like, if you need to talk, you want to hang out, we can just say the word, I'm here. But I also don't press. Yeah,
and then you learn not to be offended if they don't.
Yeah, of course.
It had nothing to do with.
And that's something I need to work on myself.
That's me, and it wasn't just with my kids. Yeah, it has been with y'all at times. Like, okay, they just don't want to talk about it, Shauna. You have to accept that. Yeah. And it's nothing to do with you. It has nothing. Oh no, they not pushing you out of their life. It's not that they don't love you, but at that very moment, they don't want to speak on it, and it's okay. Yeah. I used to get offended like a mug, and then the damn Miss Howard, she's like, Shauna, that has nothing to do with you, and I was like, you don't. So she
sound like main character syndrome to me.
So she still loved me, right? Okay, it don't have nothing to do with me. She was like, you have to stop. Then she said, but
stop internalizing.
We also got to the bottom of why I felt that way. Right. And we got to the bottom of a lot. I love that lady. One day we might give y'all her real name, maybe not. No, because I want my appointments.
Never.
I want my appointments, and y'all ain't about to be having me backlog for 2 weeks. But I learned so much with that lady. Yeah. like so much. She really has helped me. I don't think I would if I hadn't realized. Like I think I would have ruined a lot of my friendships.
Oh yeah.
A lot of my relationships. Well, I ain't got many of them, but yeah. But a lot that my friendships are what meant the most to me. Yeah. My relationship with my son is what meant the most to me when I started going to therapy. I didn't realize some of the stuff that I was doing until I got caught doing it. I didn't.
Yeah, we all have blind spots.
I realized
we all have blind spots.
It was being done to me by a certain person. And in turn, I was doing it to other people, and I realized how bad it made me feel. And I was like, damn, Shauna, this is what you've been doing to the people who genuinely love you, who genuinely care about you. Yeah. I never realized that.
And it's a blind spot.
I had to apologize. I had to like literally say, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
If I ever did anything to hurt you, if I ever made you feel XYZ, I am so sorry, because y'all the people who have had my back for the last 30 years. Yeah. Like, I would never want to lose y'all. I can get into an argument with somebody right goddamn now. I probably would walk away like, fuck y'all. Right. But I can't not speak. This bitch started speaking to me for like 2 days, and my feelings was hurt. Like, I called her sister, like, listen, she not mad. I said she mad at me, and I'm sorry, and I didn't mean it. I can't deal with not speaking to her, because she stopped being my best friend a long time ago, and she became my sister. I didn't have sisters growing up. Yeah. I mean, I had cousins, but I didn't have sisters. Yeah. And then with you, I grew up with brothers, but then after what, you became my brother too. It's some shit I would do for you that I wouldn't do for the oldest one. Yeah. The little one lived with me, so, and then the middle one, I do stuff for him. But like, it's all about being vigilant, because you will fuck some relationships up.
Yeah, and not even know that
and not realizing
your actions were the
one. You know, I know I said this previously in an episode about my son. Like, I don't want my son to have to heal from his childhood. But I know what that feel like. But ultimately, if it does happen, I want him to be able to call me on my shit and say, "Man, you did XYZ and it made me feel XYZ," and I'll be able to be mature enough to say, "You know what? You right. I am so sorry. What can we do to fix this?" But
I also want to bring up, and this is something I learned through therapy and watching stuff and reading things, that we all have things that we need to heal from our childhoods. It could be a traumatic experience, or it could be traumatic to us. Yeah. And it could affect us. And it may not, I guess to our parents, it may not have been a traumatic thing, or it may not have been something that was serious, but because it hit us at that moment, it altered the way we think, or the way we approach things, or the way we relate to people.
The way we deal with things.
Yeah, and we all have things that we have to heal from our childhoods, even if it wasn't something that was like a murder in our face, or, you know, something super, super serious.
I have a few things, but you know, something else that I'm just sitting here thinking about, it was something that both of y'all have called me out about individually. And I didn't realize I was doing it, and I knew I wasn't doing it intentionally, but I didn't realize I was doing it, and I was cutting people off while they talking. I never realized I was doing that. And I brought it up to Mrs. Howard, and she said, "Why do you think you do that?" And I said, like, she made me regress and go into something I tried to erase. And I remember not feeling heard. And being cut off myself, and not being able to get my thought out, right? And that also contributes to why, like, a lot of people say, you loud, because I used to get cut off, and I wanted to be heard. I never felt heard. So I started raising my voice, because I felt like if I speak a little louder, maybe people will hear me. And it just transcended into adulthood and stuff. And I catch myself at times, but other times I don't. And they be like, "Shauna," and I be like, "Huh? I was? My bad." So I don't always realize it.
This is lovey-dovey, but on the friendship episode, when our friend Aaron comes on, we're going to talk about the time in high school where they wasn't getting along. Moving on from that.
No, that was after high school.
No, that was when we was in high school. I remember that. Because when I moved back from Chicago.
Oh, no, that was when me and Keith fell out.
That's what I was
I thought you was talking about me and Aaron. I was about to say, no, that happened after high school.
I said you and her.
Oh, sorry. She thought you was talking about her episode of Fear Thy Roommate.
Oh, no.
Child. We really could have been on that episode, though.
No, but we're going to talk about the episode, I guess, when Aaron comes on.
We should contact the show.
When Shauna and Keith fell out back when we were in high school. And they did
the dumbass reason that we fell out, and we laugh about this shit now. But back then, I was like,
I don't like that bitch.
Bitch, I see you in the parking lot. But you're not going there.
They could not stand.
But I'm going to be honest, I would have never put my hands on it because I love it too much. So even then, when we fell out, I was like, I could have did it.
I moved back like, what the fuck happened to y'all?
Look, and both of us and told outside the store, and Brandon like, really, y'all? And he stuck in the middle because he loved me, he loved her. It was funny. We can laugh about it now. We wasn't laughing back then.
What a difference 2 decades makes.
Baby lit. Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, our 20-year reunion is next year.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's next summer.
She say, "Ooh," and she's pouring herself another glass of wine. She got a drink today.
I'm gonna refill this glass because ooh, yes, next year is 20 years. And somebody said something about doing a reunion. I start the post. Go to hell. I'm not coming.
I ain't even respond.
I'm not coming.
I'm not.
I spoke past it.
Not, yeah.
I looked at it and laughed. I'm not coming. I'm friends with the people.
Wishes to everybody that go. I hope y'all have fun. I hope it's a great time. I hope it's organized perfectly because I have a feeling that person would definitely put their foot in that event. But I'm not going to be
You're not
there.
going?
No.
I'm not going to do it. I deal with who I want to deal with from high school.
So
I see them in public, give them hugs, going about my business.
I don't know if I'll go to our high school reunions, but the first high school I went to in Chicago, I think I'm going to go back to Chicago for that reunion.
I wish we could do an elementary reunion.
Oh,
I would love that. But our principal gone.
Oh, she did pass.
She's
I
been
remember
gone
seeing
a
that.
long
glory.
time.
She been gone for years. That was my lady.
We can call Keith. We hope that the Keith Jingling assistant vice principal is still there.
Oh Lord, with them strong
Jingle,
ass
jingle.
calf muscles and them keys.
Jingle, 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 jingle.
Baby, she is like what's his name? Hey Tony with them keys. Students and teachers.
Oh no!
Sure. What them kids say? This is bursting. I love him, yo. He is funny.
That's too accurate. Too
It
accurate.
is.
That same
that-
the crunchy wig.
Yes.
And walking steps
No,
one at a
baby,
time.
them bulbs used to be laid though.
Oh, yeah.
Her bulbs
Her
was
bulb. Them
laid.
things-
And she had them 6-inch heels on with them strong ass calf muscles. Like she'd take that bitch and chop a desk in hand. Girl, and I ended up going to church with that lady. I seen her in church and was like, ooh. She was a good assistant principal though. She ain't play.
We didn't play with her.
We didn't play with her, and she was talented too because she came and took over our music class one day and started playing the damn. We was like, "Wait a minute, sis, that's what we doing?" And then when I seen it in church, I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
makes
that's-
sense.
yeah,
All
that
right,
makes sense.
hallelujah."
Oh man, we got some elementary school memories.
We did, but we can see
That's a future. We'll talk about
we
that.
gonna talk
too.
about that on the friendship episode.
Maybe, and this is just the idea I'm afloat. It may not ever happen. Maybe we can get our favorite person that just had a baby on that we all
that's my girl.
gush over from time to time.
That was our girl. I loved her.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm like, you just had a baby. I had to think about that for a second.
Maybe we're not gonna say her name, but what I will say is maybe let's try. I'll edit that out. But what I will say is let's
She
try
in
to get
California
that
now, ain't
person.
she? Mm-hmm.
But we can do virtual. We can try
Her
virtual.
and- we got 2 people in California.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But we'll plan that.
Let's
And
talk. That
let's
would
see
be
if it
fun.
happens. That would be interesting.
I think they would do it.
Interesting. Okay, so I think that wraps up this segment. Do y'all have any final thoughts about mental health? Anything you want to talk about, or any final parting words for our listeners?
It is okay not to be okay.
It is.
Definitely.
And if you don't feel like you have anybody, it is so many resources out here.
Talk space. You can
Talk space.
Yes.
I recommend. I think I spoke about this on previous episodes. Therapy for Black Girls on Facebook. They actually have a website and resources where you can, if you're more comfortable as a Black woman with a African American therapist like me, I will recommend it. I will highly recommend it.
And if you're not a Black girl, if you're a Black they or a Black man,
Yes.
I believe it's the National Association of Black Psychiatrists or Psychologists,
It's something like that,
But there's
yeah.
a website that you can, and I'm not sure if it's up to date, unfortunately, but you can go online and search Black therapists, and there's a directory of Black therapists that you can search for your city, your town, wherever you live, and hopefully that helps. And again, if you're not comfortable with talking to people, you can. There is a book. No, I'm not gonna mention that. But there are things that you can do to try to work through things. And I think that wraps up the segment, yes?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
Okay. All right, now that we're back from that lovely commercial break we just took, I have some questions for the birthday girl. So first off, happy birthday, Key. Well, I said it earlier, but happy birthday, New Edges.
Happy birthday, girl.
Thank you. I know new edges. They 37 years old.
Laid, I'm sorry, I'm saying laid edges. Happy birthday, laid edges.
Laid for the gods.
They like 37, but okay.
You know, she's like she belong on a dark and lovely box.
Don't do that.
You know, back in the day, them women was looking real sassy with them bobs.
Like that.
The whole time they wasn't even. The whole time they wasn't even relaxed.
How they
though.
posed?
Oh my gosh.
hair all in their face with
Yes, honey. With that swoop over the eye.
The underswoop with the hair tilted to the side looking like this.
And then we found out 20 years later that Keisha Cole was on one of them boxes.
And didn't it come out that there was clippings?
Some of them was clippings and some of them was just silk pressed. They weren't even relaxed.
Yeah. Yeah. When they did that then and now thing.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I want to start a new thing, a segment on the podcast that we're going to do 3 times a year, once for each of our birthdays. And it's called Birthday Questions. So whenever one of us has a birthday, the other 2 hosts can ask the birthday person a couple of questions about how they feel getting a year older, a year wiser, a year better, a year sexier. So I have a question or 2 for Key, and Shauna has a question for 2. So you want me to go first or you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Not rock, paper, scissors.
I mean, it's her birthday, so we got to do it. You ready?
Damn.
All right, I lost the music. I go. Okay. So, do you have any goals for your 37th year? And if so, what are they?
I want to travel this year.
Where to?
I don't care. I just want to travel.
Wait, I need a roommate for July.
What's July?
For bring the 40th.
Where's that at?
Turks and Caicos. I need a roommate.
I just want to. I want to travel.
We might be going to Miami in June. If things paying out. Speaking into existence. Go ahead.
Manifest.
The one place I never wanted to go.
Oh yeah, Florida.
Never. Never.
Damn.
I don't never want to go to Florida. Don't never want. That's another conversation though, because we gotta. I got my reasons.
Yes.
Besides traveling, I do want to achieve more writing. Like I would love to kind of get my name out there a little bit more.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I make goals up as they come. I don't really set them early.
Okay.
So I don't know what, like, I don't really look at the year like I need to do this in a year.
Right.
So
Right. Okay. Second question. What was the biggest life lesson you learned in your 36th year?
biggest life lesson I learned. I think the biggest life lesson I learned is that if I can't control it, I shouldn't concern myself with it. And if I can control it, I'll figure it out.
Amen.
Amen. That's a good one.
Amen and amen again.
All right, now, Shauna, ain't no rock, paper, scissors. You got to go this time.
I only got one question, though.
Hey, one question. Let's go.
My question's
I
gonna
got
be
the
banana
fun
boat.
question. What is your best birthday memory?
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh, best birthday memory.
It involved me.
Well, actually, this involves my other sister. My mom got me a clown for my 7th birthday.
Okay.
And my sister is afraid of clowns.
Okay.
So she was not trying to come downstairs. And she came downstairs. He convinced her. And he was like, you know, trying to convince her that he was okay. And he sat her down. He put her in his chair. He did this trick where he cracked the egg over her head and he put a cup over it. And when he pulled the cup up, all of this candy fell from under the cup over her head. I've never seen her move so quick in my life, the way she swooped that all up and just ran upstairs. And she did not come back downstairs. We did not see her for the rest of my birthday. Like, she did not come back. Nobody got any candy. Like, it was like a piñata burst over her head.
It was that much candy?
It was that much.
Wow.
And she was gone.
That sounds
gone.
accurate.
It was fun to me, and it's a one memory. Like, I could give you quite a few, but that was just one memory because she's so afraid of clowns now that it is hilarious. Like,
we went trick or treating one
yes,
year,
like,
and she saw him from half a block away. We
yes.
turned around. She was where the car was at, 2 blocks away.
Most of
we was like, how she get down there?
yeah, like all the other memories of her with clowns are hilarious to the point where we will start crying, laughing. So to just think about that, it was like she didn't ruin my birthday because she's scared of clowns. So you know what I mean? Like that was a good memory to me, especially because the way she reacted. Like, I swear to this day, I've never seen her move that quick. Like, she just.
I promise y'all, 2 blocks, she was gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
You know what? scratch that, because when she saw that clown 2 blocks away, she was gone. We turned around and didn't even know she was gone. And so we turned around like,
we saw him, and he was walking around. He had a balloon in his hand like this, kind of like it.
Oh, I got a picture.
And
in
he
my
really
phone.
wasn't that creepy. He wasn't that creepy, but she was gone.
Yeah, show me that when we done recording.
Yeah, I got the picture.
Okay, so was that your only question?
Yes.
All right, so now to close out this episode, we are going to move into our now infamous Q&A segment.
Ew.
Where go ahead and work your magic this week, Shauna. Let us know what you done found on the interwebs.
On the intrawebs.
Intrawebs.
So I have 2 questions today, y'all. But before we get started, if you have any questions that you want us to ask on this podcast, you can send them to us at our Gmail, which is askwandapod@gmail.com. That's ASKWANDAPOD@gmail.com. You can also, got tongue tied. Also send us
wine.
It is, Chad, because this wine is tasty. You can also send us messages on Facebook, on IG, on Twitter. More than likely, I'm going to be the one to see the damn questions. And when you send those questions, let us know if you want to be anonymous, if you want us to use first name, last initial, if you want me to give you a nickname, whatever. We try to, honor people requests and whatnot.
That's a scary ass clown.
Did she
That
run
clown
from
is
this
scary
one
as
too?
shit.
Lord, Jesus.
With her children. Her children taking a picture with her.
Oh.
So,
Okay, what you got for us?
the
this week,
first
Shauna?
question, guys, is from Therapy for Black Girls that I spoke of earlier.
Okay.
I found this on their Facebook page. Again, Therapy for Black Girls is a good resources if you're looking for a therapist, if you're looking for any kind of resources to help you with your mental health. The question is, why is mental health so taboo in the Black household?
Well, we talked about this on a previous episode. I guess when I think it was Parenting Our Parents.
I think so,
Where
yeah.
it was basically like, what happens in this house stays in this house.
Yes.
We don't talk about nothing.
Yes.
Don't tell our business because it ain't nobody else's business. You got to concern, pray about it, or just deal with it and move on because you ain't got a choice to do nothing else.
Yeah.
And I think also if you want to get all deep and not to put on my unk and my kufi, my kente cloth kufi real quick.
Come on, my brother.
Power to the people, my sister. Oh, I was gonna say something else, but that might be offensive. I ain't gonna say that. But I think that also stems from like slavery, and it stems from watching our parents like deal with Jim Crow and deal with seeing loved ones get snatched out of their beds down south and be lynched and doing all these things to where, like I said before, generations before us were taught raised in survival mode because they had to get up and survive to deal with everything they were facing outside the home.
Absolutely.
Right.
So mental health, I mean, granted, now we have the language to know that back in the 40s, like you said, granddaddy might have been crazy when he took his ass to Korea to go fight in the war because he had bipolar disorder and might have been schizophrenic.
But it was just worse when he came back.
And that was the uncle that stayed in the back room doing family function to nobody. So
Uncle Pete.
Like Uncle Pete and Soul Food.
Yeah.
Hey, go baby, go ahead and take Uncle. Go ahead and take Tony his plate. Just sit outside the door and knock. He'll come out and get it. But that's we didn't have.
It just wasn't labeled.
It wasn't labeled. Or it may have been labeled, but it was foreign to our elders. And of course, it was the issue of money because who was paying for it there? Unless you were wealthy, who was paying for money for a therapist?
Right.
Could you find a black therapist?
Yeah.
And then again, it goes back into we ain't talk about this because this ain't nobody's business. We'll deal with it in house. Big Mama will pray over you real quick, lay some hands, and go on down and talk to the pastor, and then
What goes on here stays here. That was one. That was some of the most toxic shit
Definitely toxic.
ever.
And not even that.
And now we know that. And we pause a little bit, y'all, because my favorite aunt happens to be here in the worm.
she's
gets
like,
it.
I want to say something.
She was like, baby, yes.
Well, you got to come over to the microphone because you too far away, Aunt Ruth. So we have an unexpected guest. We want to welcome Shauna's Aunt Ruth to the podcast.
My absolute fave.
She's in our audience, but she's coming in to say a couple quick words on this topic.
This is something that me and her talk about all the time.
You gotta hand it the mic.
All the time.
I just wanted to say something because me and my daughter, we have been going back and forth with this mental health issue. She seems to think that I'm using a manipulative behavior, and it was something that was instilled in our ancestors that goes back that you just deal with things or things the way things are worded is hurtful. And it all stems back to their mental health. And they didn't realize what they were doing.
Right.
So I told her today that it's something that I need her to help me with, because I've been doing it for 60 years and didn't realize it.
Yeah.
And it is a problem. And it does stem from mental health. Yeah. I thought it was okay. I thought that's the way it was supposed to be because nobody talked about it. Yeah. But it's like, you got to be careful what you say, how you say it, to try to get someone to do something for you.
Yeah,
so
of course.
I just touched on that. I just like that manipulative. Once she brought it to my attention, I was like, you're right. That's a sickness. That's bad. Mm-hmm. You know, it's hurtful to not just her. Now I have a granddaughter, and I was talking to my granddaughter using that manipulative language, and I didn't realize it. It's just crazy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a thing of you are open enough to have that conversation, to be receptive to that. Whereas I know,
which is rare.
Our grandparents would have been like, who
the fuck you talking to?
Who you talking to?
Yeah.
Get fuck out my face.
Right. I'm the parent, I'm the grandparent, you respect me. There's the whole respect your elders type thing.
It's what I say goes, so this is how we doing it in my house.
Yeah.
Even if after you grown, it's like, well, but that was hurtful. You can't say that. But I'm grown.
And I've talked to Shauna, and I told it to my nieces and nephews, someone has to break that cycle.
Right.
Yeah. And that's why I told my daughter today, just help me when I say things. If it's wrong, let me know right then and there, because I want the cycle to be broken.
Yeah.
I don't want her to do it to her daughter, but she does it because she's seeing that I've been doing it to her. Right. And I didn't realize that. My daughter's 35.
Yeah.
I didn't know, but now it's like she's at the breaking point.
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
Yeah.
So someone has to break the cycle. So with this mental health thing, if you need help, you need somebody to talk to, please. I'm telling you, please, because you can go on and on. Mm-hmm. This has stemmed back from, my grandmother was one generation away from slavery. So you mentioned earlier with the slavery thing, it was like, it's bad.
It's all that trauma just compounds.
And it kept on going
and we didn't
on.
have the, like I said, the language, the therapy, the resources back then. But, and then going from slavery into Jim Crow and then into segregation. And then people we know, I know my mother went to segregated school. She went to Douglas in Baltimore when it was still the black high school for Baltimore. Mm-hmm. And then going through those times where you dealing with all this racism and this bigotry to then pop out of it after the Civil Rights Act passed. Like, okay, well, now we all supposed to just get along and be together. But no.
Right, but no.
No. Mm-hmm. That's not how it works.
So someone has to stand up and make that change.
Yeah, they do.
And for those listening out there in my generation, I'm 60 now, but please stop it, because I know you're doing the same thing to your daughter, son, and your grandchildren.
And you may not even be aware that you're doing it.
And you're not even aware. I did not. We've been going through this for at least a month. And first I was getting defensive, like, but dang, I can't, every time I say something, it's always something. Mm-hmm. But she's right. It's the way I said it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's the way I said it. And I was taught to say things that way to either pacify the other person or make me look good.
Yeah.
But the truth be told, say it like it is and mean what you say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's my segment. Thank you.
Thank you, Aunt Ruth.
And I think with that is
my favorite aunt. That's one of the people I talk to about everything. Everything.
And I was about to say, with that, there's nothing else to say.
There's nothing else to say.
Nothing else to say. I mean, everything that I would say has already been said. Like Shauna mentioned how toxic it is. And Brandon mentioned that it comes from generations and generations, and then the conditions of slavery. And I think because of that, we have been conditioned, or our generations have been conditioned to just deal with things. Because how many times have you dealt with something, or you tried to talk to somebody and somebody said to you, another black person said to you, do you know how many people have it worse? Or this person has it worse, or you're complaining about this because
it's not that serious. But it may not be serious to you, but it's serious to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. So just sit here and listen to what I'm saying. If you can't offer anything to me, cool.
Exactly.
Cool, but don't try to downplay my feelings.
Right. Exactly. Right. Don't invalidate what I'm going through because you don't see the seriousness of it.
There you go.
And I think our Gen X siblings, or in my case, in Keith's case, siblings, in your case, parents, but to certain members of Gen X are able to step back and start having those conversations and say, yeah, it was fine when we were kids, but now I'm grown and I know that these things affect me. Yeah. And it trickled down to us being millennials and now being, y'all hate for me to say it, I'm saying elder millennials, because, you know.
I hate being a millennial in general. So
we going to talk about that in but for us, we are now able to have the language and the bandwidth to be able to approach having these conversations and say, you know what? Yes, that's how you were spoken to, but you won't talk to me in that way. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is how it happened, is how you were raised, and I respect that. But I need, in order for us to maintain a relationship, I need to be able to talk to you in a way that doesn't harm me.
Yeah,
or
that whole
doesn't leave
respect
me
your elders
drained.
thing. No, I respect who respect me.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
You're not gonna just talk to me any kind of way because you my older. We don't play them kind of games around here, sis.
Yeah.
Because I'm an equal opportunity cuss out.
But remember, could you imagine? But Aunt Ruth, while you sitting there laughing at stuff Shauna saying, could you imagine having that saying what she just said to your mother or to your grandmother?
No, not at all. Not at all. Trust. I can remember a few backhand slaps just because I wanted to say what I wanted to say
Right.
and express the way I felt.
Right.
And I think now I just live with it, and those feelings are still embedded.
Yeah.
Of okay, just deal with it.
Yeah.
No, the buck stops here.
Okay.
That was a good question, Shauna. What's next?
So, because this topic was so heavy today, I wanted to do a more of a funny question.
Okay.
So Brandon is gonna get a kick out of this one because of where it came from.
Oh Lord.
This next and final question comes from.
We can reban her from this group.
They are 6 brown chicks. Listen, I had to lighten it up a little bit, y'all, and I seen this and was like,
Come on with this fucker.
because I already kind of know what Key's response is going to be. We gonna get a side eye and be like, what? So
Just read
the question is, and this fits into the audacity. I don't like living with Tasha. Dated for 2 years. I've given cruel hints, slept with other women in our bed, that I'm dating others and I want her out. However, this is her apartment and it's a perfect location and rent. How to enrage her enough to make her move. Help.
If you don't get your bum ass out of her place, that's my response.
Brandon, I need y'all. I wish y'all could see Brandon's face right now. Brandon is like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this.
Y'all know this is a fake ass question.
It has to be. Nobody has this level of fucking audacity.
There are people out here who do.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's
I was
not
about to
too
say.
far fetched. How do I make her man have to leave the apartment? So
The apartment is in her fucking name.
so when she leaves the apartment, you think they gonna let you stay in there without a name on the lease?
with her name on the lease. You had the audacity to move in with her, sleep with other women in her bed, and then you want her to move out of her shit with your hobo sexual ass? Really? That's what we doing? I hope Tasha go burn bed Farrah Fawcett on your ass. That's all I'm saying.
This is why I start fucking with 6 brown chicks. Because they come up with these outlandish ass fucking scenarios that don't make a lick of goddamn sense. And we just supposed to just deal with
I
it. Or
picked
be
this
like,
question
"Oh,
on
this
purpose,
don't
y'all,
make
because
no
I knew
sense."
Brandon was going to be like, really? Really? That's what we doing?
Caught it again.
Oh, my goodness.
Caught it
He
again.
caught 54 again.
Was that the last one?
That was the last
Okay.
question.
Look,
guys.
she got like 14 more than 6 brown quick.
I don't. It was just that one
chick
today.
question.
We can steal her phone and get her out that group.
I'm a block all. I'm no, that's illegal. I can't say I'm gonna go on Twitter and just delete the server and just delete the whole fucking account because that thing is under my. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Quan Millz, the podcast. Is that all, y'all?
That's all, y'all.
Okay. Well, thank you to our unexpected guest, Aunt Ruth, for her insight into
My
the last
fave.
question. And with that, we are going to wrap up here. If you have any questions, any comments, any feedback for us, feel free to send it to our email at askwandapod@gmail.com. That's ASKWANDAPOD, I can spell, @gmail.com. With that, be easy, be safe. Happy birthday, Key.
Happy birthday, P.
Happy birthday, laid edges. Laid edges. We will see y'all next week, hopefully without more of these freaking 6 brown chick questions. Bye, y'all.
Bye.